Hafaday, and thank you for joining us on another episode of My Story. I'm your host, Janella Carrera. Well, it's just about a month away, the annual Relay for Life. So in this episode, we sit down with the American Cancer Society to find out more about this year's Relay for Life. If you haven't been to one, this is your chance to learn more about this relay that brings thousands together for such a wonderful cause in honoring our warriors, survivors, family, friends, and our community for all their dedication in combating this disease. We also have a surprise guest in our show. She's been with us before, and she's joining us again to talk about her journey so far. We'll be right back. Hafaday, and welcome back to My Story. I'm your host, Janella Carrera, and joining me on the show today, Tina Nuckett and Josh Paulino. They're with the American Cancer Society, and we're here to talk about the Relay for Life, the annual Relay for Life. And so I know that this year it's on May 25th.
Correct.
Right? So can you tell us a little bit more about, I mean, everybody knows what Relay for Life is, right? But what are some of the things that we can expect? Let's just remind people what Relay for Life is all about.
So as you mentioned, so Relay for Life is on May 25th.
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday. It starts at 6 p.m. So basically it is a way for us, it's really the party of the year, for us to really celebrate our survivors and honor our those that we've lost to cancer. But really it's a way for us to show support to survivors that they're not alone in their fight against cancer.
Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen images and you know, past Relay for Lives, and I mean, I see crowds and, you know, groups of people. Can you kind of explain the different, I guess, the different groups and organizations that come here and why they're separated that way?
So basically, the Relay for Life is it's really a relay.
It's a relay.
So the idea is that we have different teams. So usually teams consist of we have family teams, we have corporate teams, small teams and big teams. And the idea is that there has to be someone on the track really at all times throughout the evening during the event. So they're really teams.
They're teams. They're
Yes.
doing a relay around the track.
Yes.
And is it going to be held at GW again this year?
Yes, so it will be at GW this year again.
Okay. And so far, how many registrations do you have already? Because I'm pretty sure you guys have been already accepting, right?
Right. We have over 50 teams.
Okay.
We're happy to see a lot of our veteran teams returning, and this year a lot of new teams. So there's still time for folks to join us. You can give us a call at the office, 477-9451, to get more information. But like Josh said, the event is designed to be an ongoing event, just to demonstrate kind of the parallel between, you know, you can't stop, got to keep fighting, the same way we fight when our family members are going through cancer. That's a great opportunity for the community to come together to fight back, to raise the funds needed to ensure that we can help end the pain and suffering that comes from cancer.
Speaking of the fundraising, what are some of the previous amounts raised and the target goal?
Right, so we are a very generous community. I think it's because we are so close-knit, really family-oriented, and the 1 degree is, you know, so prevalent here. Everybody knows somebody who's been touched by cancer. So in the past, we've raised, like last year, we raised over $490,000.
Wow.
And years past, it's kind of been in the 6 digits like that.
Okay.
We set the bar in the Pacific for support for the American Cancer Society, and this support helps us to give it back and support our community. So one of the things that we offer, and you can see it in the background there, is our wig closet for female cancer patients who lose their hair. they can come in and get a free head covering, whether it's a wig or a scarf or a hat or a knitted cap. We also offer, we provide a personal health manager for all of the patients that come through our door. And this is to help guide them through their journey. As they come in, it's filled with information about the cancer that they have and the treatments that are available and their options, because we want them to be armed with knowledge. And as they go through this process, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of uncertainty. And so for us to be able to help give them good, solid information that's reliable and science-based, so that they can, make the best decisions for them and their families. And this is also a way for them to keep everything organized, because really, in that moment and in that time, so much paperwork, there's so much, chaos, really. So it's one way to help keep things all in one place and to help guide them through that journey.
What other services are there available to cancer
So we
patients?
also, for those that need to travel off island, we also are able to provide a partial reimbursement of either their airfare or their lodging. This is thanks to the Guam Cancer Trust Fund. And the documentation just needs to be provided to us within 90 days of their return to Guam. So it's not it's not going to cover all the costs, but it helps with the families, that need to travel, unfortunately, to get the treatment that they need and the follow-up care as well.
Right. How often do you get patients or women who come through and take advantage of the services like the WIG?
Yeah, I was just telling Josh and Angie earlier that it's probably one of the best parts of my job is because the WIG closet is in the office. So I think we average probably about maybe 2 or 3 women a month, and they'll come into the office. For the first time, we just let them know, that it's available. But when they come in to actually choose out their head covering, for them to kind of, eyeball, I don't know, I don't know. And then when they actually try it on and you see their faces light up, I mean, that just totally makes my month, my year. It just reminds me of why we do what we do and why we continue to do the fundraising that's necessary to help provide this.
Right, but it's also kind of a reminder, 2 to 3 women a month. I mean, that's a lot of,
it is.
Women that come through.
On average, I believe we get 1 person a day diagnosed with cancer on Guam. And we lose somebody every 2.5 days. So it's something we definitely cannot ignore. And that's why we're so grateful for all the teams that come out to relay, not only for themselves, but they're paying it forward because, it may not be their family this time, but in the future, it may affect them directly. So we're very, very grateful for the support that we get.
Right. So back to the Relay for Life. Can you tell us a little bit more about, because you mentioned that it's also a relay, there's always going to be somebody on the track, but what are other events that happen during the Relay for Life?
So we usually start off the evening, of course, with some welcoming remarks, and then we start the night. We welcome our survivors. They have dinner at the event. And then really things really start kicking off at 7 o'clock when we have our survivor lap. So really they are the ones who take the first, they're the ones who take the first lap around the track.
I see.
And when you really see them on the track, whether it's behind the 1 year or less just diagnosed or the over 20 years, I mean, just the emotions that you're filled with, you realize this is why I do this.
Wow.
And then at 9:30 we do have our, and it's a new time this year, we're actually pushing it back a little bit. 9:30 is our luminaria ceremony.
I see.
And that's where we light the bags that have been dedicated to family members who have been through a cancer journey. Some of them are still with us and some of them we've lost. But again, that's a really emotional time for our community. We turn down the lights. We have a little bit of song tribute and some reflection time. And so that's a very moving part of the event. And after that, we raise the lights, we raise the songs, and we get into some games and entertainment. We will be engaging our teams in a passport activity for our caregivers and survivors where they'll get an opportunity to visit, say hello, get a little trinket, and be entered into a raffle drawing, for some little prizes and things like that. But just gives them, gives our community a way to engage with their survivors, because they are the inspiration for us and the reason why we do what we do.
Right. And I know that the time has changed. I know it started changing, was it last year when you guys first implemented the time change?
Yeah, so
Right.
last year was the first year
Okay.
we moved to the shorter relay. It was really logistically, it was because of FestPack. Yeah, so we were sharing a lot of the same vendors,
I see.
and
Yeah.
we needed to share.
But you're
equipment.
keeping it.
Yes, we
From
got a
6
lot
to
of
12.
positive feedback from folks. But the essence of the overnight is still there, which is why we still keep it to go past midnight, because that's the dawn of a new day for us.
Right.
And like the cancer patient, their journey doesn't end,
Right.
but we continue to fight on.
So
And
technically, it's still overnight.
Correct.
Because you have the 12:01 a.m. is
Right,
when it
12:01 is when
Yes.
it ends, is when we have our closing ceremony.
And it was really a way for us to continue the engagement with our survivors, because a lot of our survivors, they couldn't stay overnight. It was kind of a long, it's a long
Yeah.
night. So we wanted to be able to give them the opportunity to really be there for the whole event.
Right, right. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for explaining, what Relay for Life is all about, and I wish you both, and the whole event, the best of luck. I'm sure you guys will raise
Thank
a
you
lot of
so
money
much.
this
Thank
year.
you.
When we return, we're going to be speaking with a cancer survivor. She was a previous Hero of Hope. My understanding is you don't have one this year, but we're so grateful that she's agreed to come back on the show. We've interviewed her before, and I hope you guys will remember her from the last time she was here. So stay right there. We'll be right back. Hafide, and welcome back to My Story. I'm Janella Carrera. Thanks for joining us tonight. Earlier in the show, we had Tina Nookett, and we also had Josh Polino to talk about the Relay for Life. But now we're also joined by Angie Corpus. I hope you guys remember her. We interviewed her several episodes ago, and she was the Hero of Hope for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life. So unfortunately, this year, they weren't able to find a Hero of Hope designee. But thank you so much for agreeing to join us here in the show and talk
Sure.
about your journey. It's been a couple years since we last spoke.
Right.
But maybe you can just give us a brief reminder of what you went through and how you were able to survive
Okay.
cancer.
Yeah, 2007, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer. That was my first diagnosis. And immediately after I, got on the plane and went and had treatment for almost 3 months away from home. Coming back after treatment, I wanted to be a part of Relay for Life. And so I had formed a team at work. Been participating with Relay just about every year since then. And then 5 years after that diagnosis, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, very early stage. So that was a good thing. I was already under surveillance treatment
Right.
for the endometrial.
Right.
So they were able to catch the cervical cancer very, very early.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
And so would you consider yourself in remission now? Has it been the 5 years since?
Well, it's been 10 years,
10 years,
now with the
okay.
endometrial cancer and 5 with the, actually going on into 6
Oh, okay.
with the cervical. So
Wow,
definitely.
that is wonderful. How does it feel to be able to say, year after year, go in for your checkup and be told that, you're
I think for every cancer patient, every time, we're coming up to our follow-up appointments, we get all worked up, what if the cancer's back,
Right.
or, what are they going to find? And I know for many of us, once we get that, clean slate, bill of health is clear, then we're relieved. And then, of course, the next appointment, whether it's 3 months out, 6 months out, yearly, you always get worked up and you're just never sure because it can always come back. And so I always get excited, the day of, not, the fun excited. I just get super nervous because you just never know, even though we're given, the survival rates of 5 years, you still get nervous even after 5 years.
And especially
because
for you
it can happen.
because you were diagnosed with a different form of cancer 5
Right.
years later.
Right.
So you know the experience of going through year after year being clean, and the next thing you know,
It's like there's something new.
Right.
And so I think everybody who's gone through a cancer journey gets that feeling when they're coming up to their follow-up treatment or follow-up appointments.
Right, right. And so, you mentioned that when you came back, you got involved with Relay for Life
Yes.
and you wanted to share your experience. Tell us why you wanted to be an advocate for
While I was away, family kind of found out information from the American Cancer Society that I was able to avail of one of their patient services. And what I received was financial assistance with lodging or airfare that we applied it to. And every bit counts, because who can afford to be sick, let alone have cancer and have to go off island? At that time, I believe we only had one cancer center on island at that time. The radiation machines were damaged by the previous typhoons, so our resources locally was very limited back then. And so I was able to avail of one of the services, and then when I became Hero of Hope through my research with the program, I also found out that one of the services that every woman experiences through their life, the Pap smear, was backed by the American Cancer Society some 40 years plus ago. So people don't realize the connection that American Cancer Society has with all these different treatment options, medications. So I wanted to give back for what I received and plus more, to be able to help somebody else that's going through their journey.
And you've been through it. You've utilized the services that
Exactly.
were available to you that maybe some people are not aware are available to them
Right.
in the community. I mean, not just American Cancer Society, but there's, like you mentioned before, there was maybe only one or, very little resources available, but now it's expanding, especially as we see more diagnoses and the number has just increased.
Yes.
Here in Guam.
Yes, and I think a lot of people, who do participate with Relay for Life don't make a full connection, I think, until you come into my shoes, right? And actually go through a cancer diagnosis and journey. You don't realize how much the American Cancer Society does for those who do have to go through treatment, who do have to take all these medications to help them through their journey. And Relay for Life, what we raise at Relay goes towards those services, the research and the patient programs provided to us. So I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to give back, and I wanted to give hope to others who are newly diagnosed and going through what I went through, so that they kind of have that hope and know that cancer is not a death sentence.
Right. And you mentioned that you've been going to the Relay for Life pretty much every year, right? Since you
Yes, just about every year since
you were diagnosed.
2008, yeah,
Okay.
right after my treatment.
Okay. Can you tell us, in your personal experience, as a cancer survivor, as a Hero of Hope, what this means to you, being at Relay for Life and meeting other people, other families who've been touched by cancer?
I think the two biggest events for me as a survivor, of course, would be the Survivor Lab. To see many more survivors every year. I mean, we'd hate to see that there's that many more people
Right.
who have been diagnosed with cancer, but to be able to see many more faces that have survived their journey. And so that's very special to me, because we put a face to cancer, and we show people that, hey, this is not something that is a death sentence. We can fight this. We can fight this together as a community. Give hope to those who may be, sitting in the corner, kind of afraid, not knowing what to do.
And there's people from different walks of life.
Yeah, different walks of life, different age groups, to be able to see, young survivors, older survivors, long-time survivors, that's a really special time of the event. So that's one of the most special time of Relay for me, as well as the luminaria ceremony. We've got a lot of bags that represent each person that was diagnosed, whether they're still here as survivors or they've gone before us. It puts that face and a name to their journey. And so again, it's another way to honor, remember, and also to give hope to others.
Right. Okay. And so, like right before we close out the show, it's been a couple years since we last spoke to you.
Yes.
Tell us what's been going on with you. Work or what, personal life.
I'm still pushing forward. I still participate with Relay for Life. I still volunteer. This year, I'm on the event committee. I am the Bring the People lead, and so I reach out to those teams who have joined us. Try to recruit more teams, and also we want to invite survivors to come out and register and come and be a part of the relay, because it is for them. It is to honor them.
Right. Okay. And then Josh, if you can just maybe give us one quick reminder of the event, when, where, time, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so again, Relay for Life is Friday, May 25th. We start at 6 p.m. We end at 12:01. It will be at the George Washington track. There's still time for teams to come out and join. And really it'll be a night to really show the community, show our survivors that our community is there for them. We do Relay for Life, but our ultimate goal is to one day not have to do Relay for Life, because there will be no more cancer. And really, that's why we raise funds, so we can really, they can do the cancer research and really put an end to this disease.
Yes, I totally agree. Is there a phone number or maybe a website that they can?
Yeah, so they can call our office, 477-9451.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when we come back from the show to close it out, I'll give you all the details once again. And if you're still interested, there is still time to register
of
and
course.
join in the event, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Josh, and thank you so much, Angie.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the
Thank
best of luck, and I'm pretty sure that the event is going to be a success, as it always has been. So thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of My Story. Thank you again for joining us. To learn more about the upcoming Relay for Life, you can log on to relayforlife.org/GuamGU. There's still time to register if you haven't done so. If you can't attend but want to donate, or if you just want to donate anyway to the cause, you can also do that on that website or call 477-9451. We hope to see you all at the annual Relay for Life. Thank you for watching My Story. Good night.